is Shane Mitchum. I am a pre-sales engineer here at C-Vision Technologies. Today I'm actually going to cover briefly how to use the QuickRunWizard and how to interpret some of the results. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up our PDF Compressor 6.0 user interface. And you'll notice that the first pop-up box that will pop up is the Quick Setup Wizard. Now here you'll see multiple options here on the left hand side. Optimize my settings, set up a simple run, or close this window. Also, should you not want to use this pop-up box, there is a checkbox here on the bottom that says show this dialog on startup. If you never want to see this again, simply uncheck that and it will not launch at startup. You can get to the same thing from the user interface. Let's say you close out of this and you want to go back and optimize your settings. You can go up to File and do Quick Setup Wizard. So today we're going to cover the Optimize My Settings. What this is telling you here is that it's basically a brief walkthrough that will ask you a few questions about your documents and hopefully point you in the right directions of the best settings for your particular document set. So I'm going to select Next at this prompt, and then it's going to ask me a few questions here. It's going to say, hey, do you want to make your file searchable? And for this we'll say yes. Basically that's using our underlying OCR engine. It also allows you to define languages, so should you have any of our 117 different languages in your document, you can certainly select those here and we will be able to correctly identify and OCR the document. I happen to know that my documents are all in English, so I'll just leave English selected. Only selecting the languages that you know to be in the data set can speed up processing time, so that's why I'll leave it as only English. One thing to mention is that all these languages are grayed out here because I do not have the language pack installed. The language pack is available for download on our website. That's www.cvisiontech.com, and it is free of charge. So that's a nice thing while you're evaluating the product to have. The next question you'll see, we ask you about your input documents. Are they black and white? Are they color? Or maybe they could be both. We can leave it as both for now. Also, my output document should be either black and white. When both is selected, you have the options of black and white and both. That's due to the fact that we have the ability to force color and grayscale documents to a black and white color space. A lot of businesses, they don't necessarily mind retaining only black and white images for space purposes. So the next thing I'll do, I'll leave it as both. The next thing I'll do is move on to Next, and it's going to actually just select a sample file to compress. Now, it only does let you select one file. I'll actually select one from my desktop here. I'll show you the input file I'm going to use. I'm actually going to use this page out of a Business Week magazine. As you can see, it's very colorful. There's even some color text on the color background. It's a 7.2 megabytes right here, and you will see compression results on that. So that's the file I actually use, so I'm just going to select that here in the user interface. We do have the ability to use a variety of different input files: JPEG, PDFs, bitmaps, TIFFs, PNGs, GIFs, and many other files available. This happens to be a JPEG. I'm going to hit Next here, and now what it's doing is it's actually going to process in 3 different ways. So should you select a large file with multiple pages, it will process that file 3 different ways, so that may take some time. Here it happens to be a single page file. It is OCRing that file, so that will take anywhere between 3 to 6 seconds per page depending on the structure of that document and how clean that document is. Should take a few seconds to wrap up. And now you have results. So a few different things you have here. You have the first file, which, as you can see, the file size is 77 kilobytes. Now the original was 7.2 megabytes, so it's a massive rate of compression. It's over 99% compressed. Same here with the 103 kilobyte file. And then we have a less compressed version at about a half a megabyte. Now a couple other things to note here is that we give you the time of compression also. So for this one here that was 77 kilobytes, took 7.64 seconds to create. However, the larger file only took 7.5 seconds to create. That's one thing to keep in mind as you're looking at this. The more compression you use, the more time it will actually take to compress each file. So let's select this 77.37 kilobyte file, and we'll select next. Now what it'll ask you is how satisfied are you with that output file you've selected. So let's say I'm picky and these results did not work well. The interface itself will now ask you a couple more questions about the results. What's the most significant problem? The file was not compressed enough, the color grayscale image quality was not good enough, the black and white image quality was not good enough, or the OCR results were not satisfactory, or it was too slow. So let's just say that the image quality was not good enough because this is a color file. And I'll select next. So now what that's going to do is it's going to process the file again in 3 different ways, and hopefully the user will like one of the output files. Now this all runs off of a matrix that was created in-house here at CVision by some of our most advanced technical folks based on the commonalities that we see in documents in the space. So again, processing 3 different ways. If it's a larger file, it will take significantly more time, but this happens to be a single page file, so it shouldn't be too bad. And it's on that method 3, and it's complete now. So now what you're going to see is, because I selected that my image quality was too poor, you'll see bigger files. So here's one that's a half a meg, 1.59 megabytes, and 445 kilobytes. So what this is showing you is less compression was used, yielding a better, crisper image. So I'll actually select here, view this file, and this will actually open the file with your default PDF viewer. This happens to be mine, and as you can see, you'll have a file fully text searchable, fully OCR'd, and no visual image degradation at all. So let's say you like those settings. I'm going to select next, and I'm going to say I like these settings, let's use these. You simply type in the name, so I'll write best image, I can spell, quality, and I'll save that configuration, and we'll exit and go to the main panel. And as you'll see up here, my baseline settings are selected. And if we look at some of the image processing settings, maybe the compression settings, you'll see here that by default image processing is actually 7, and with these settings it has been raised to 8, yielding a better quality output file. Now if we actually take a look in the input folder, it will retain each of those files that were processed and created. If we take a look here at number 3, this is the 595 KB file that was created. Again, it's the same file that we just saw, completely text searchable, completely OCR'd. And that wraps up the demonstration of the QuickRunWizard. Thank you.